Hi everyone, it's Allison. I thought I would get ready to head out to the garden. I just got Fisher down for a nap and I thought I would share with you what we've done back here. So I'm a little embarrassed by the first few things, so I'll show you those first. But we had some stumps ground, so that was one big stump we had, and then we have one over there we did, and a bunch of little ones over there that we had ground. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do in those spots, but we put in a little, we had for my son's second birthday party, we had a dinosaur dig kind of thing. So we filled sand in here and they dug for dinosaur skeletons, and my mother-in-law had a bunch of strawberry plants that, you know, they spread, so she gave me a bunch of transplants and I planted them. Some of them didn't work out too well, but most of them, I'm sorry, I'm in the way, but most of them are doing pretty good. There's some berries on there. I want to get it kind of covered on the top, but we did put some fencing up around it to try and deter the birds. There's a good one on here right there. But yeah, they're looking pretty good. Gotta pick some of those, but I'm hoping those will just kind of naturally fill in as you know, the seasons go on, so hopefully they'll just come up next year pretty good. So that's that, and then we got a bunch of blueberry plants at this plant auction we were at in the spring, and all the leaves have fallen off. I don't know if it's from the birds or if they're just not really liking the spot they're in, but I'm hoping they just kind of come back next season and fill in. Okay, so there's a couple different varieties so that they'll pollinate one another, but they're looking kind of sad to see, but there's one of the clusters of blueberries, but we weren't able to get anything off of that. So my son's little pool thing that he got for his birthday. And then this is the fig tree that we got. It looks pretty good. I think we're gonna have to end up tying it up, but there's a bunch of new growth on it there, and it looks really good. I'm pleased with how that's turning out. So that is good, and I'll take you back here in the garden and show you. I left the chickens in so that they don't come running after me. The rooster's not very nice. I'll show you over here real quick before we go into the garden area. This is just a plant we got last year, and I think it's a Weigelia plant. I don't really know, to be honest with you, but it didn't look so good, so I cut it back a bunch, and I planted it back here, hoping maybe that will do something eventually. There were some buds on it, but I think they're pretty much dead. So, and then over here we just kind of had this. Okay, I'm sorry, I think I was just too far away. So basically what I did was, we had this little patch of dirt and nothing was really growing here, and I had a bunch of watermelons that just started to pop up from last year. I let a couple of them just compost in the garden, and they started to come up right where I planted my carrots. So we just transplanted them in here, and some of them made it. Like there's one there, one here, and then there's a couple down there. So I'm hoping they just kind of take over this area and spread out. So that's what we did there. And I'll take you inside the garden. Sorry about the rooster, he's just gonna kind of be noisy. That's just what he does. Okay, so over here, these are all of our onions. I showed you guys these earlier in the year. They are doing excellent. We have a bunch of different varieties, white, yellow, and red, and we also have super sweet and just sweet. So that is those. There's some there. And then here we just have radishes. I pulled off some of the flowers on some of them, but the rest of them just kind of are doing what they're doing. They're growing though, so I'm just kind of letting them go. We also just put this bed in this year. I had a bunch of rhubarb that I got at the plant auction and planted it in there so it'll come up every year. And then we planted a couple cucumbers, and my husband made this little trellis for them to climb up. And then we fenced everything off so the chickens can't get in there. But these are the cucumbers. They look great. We have 2 different varieties, a small pickling cucumber and then a regular cucumber. And then there are my rhubarb plants. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that one's kind of like ugh, but it's okay. I think it has some new growth down here, so I think it'll be fine. In here we have Brussels sprouts, which look wonderful. They've just really done a really nice job in here. You can see the chickens kind of reach in and peck at the leaves, but I don't think it'll hurt them any. We have a bunch of kale here, which I use and I also give to the chickens. In here I have romaine growing. I don't know, this year the romaine it did so well last year, and now I just have 1. I'm just going to keep planting the seeds, hoping that they'll take off. We just have 1 there, and then I had another little seedling pop up that I think might be one, but I'm not really sure. We have a bunch of red lettuce, which looks really good, and green lettuce. And this is supposed to be like an iceberg lettuce. In the last video I mentioned it, and Katie from Katie Cooks and Crafts, she told me just peel off it doesn't grow like an actual iceberg head of lettuce. You just kind of have to peel it off. It's more like a leaf lettuce, I would say, though. In this bed here we have tomatoes, a bunch of different varieties. These are cherry tomatoes. You can see those on there. We have a like ketchup tomato, it's called, like a Heinz tomato. It's an heirloom tomato. That is a Mr. Stripey, which we had to plant later because the one that was there died off from the frost that we had, the late frost. And I think this is another Mr. Stripey. It's got some blooms in there. A bunch of different there's a purple heirloom in here, and there's a Roma down here, and Mr. Stripey's, and I'm not sure what else I have in there. I'd have to check the things, but they all look really nice. In here I have my asparagus, which I just keep kind of pruning back. I think next year we'll be able to eat from the bed when it pops up in the spring, which is really exciting. I just kind of let them go to seed for now and kind of spread around. We have a bunch of basil that some of it is from seed and some of it is planted from the store. Cilantro, which is growing up nicely. We also have this was a basil plant, but it's died. There's another one there, and dill, rosemary, lavender, and then a couple marigolds that I was just planting for my chickens. I'll pop this little flower off here before these all go to seed. Yeah, so this is just kind of the herb and asparagus bed. I'm just gonna kind of keep it that way for now. We didn't have anything else that we needed to plant in there, so there are the chickens in there like, what's going on? Over here I have some Swiss chard, which I need to kind of spread these out. They kind of all grew clustered together there, and nothing really grew here and nothing grew there, so I'm gonna spread some of it out. I wanted to wait till it got a little larger so it wouldn't die on me. These are leeks. They came up pretty good. All of them, I think, with the exception of a few, came up, so that should be nice. These are carrots, 2 varieties. We have like a shorter, stalkier carrot and a regular size carrot. But back there you can see that's where all the watermelons started popping up. So there's still some over there. I keep pulling it, but and then these are the beets. They seem to be doing really well. I might have to move a couple of them. I already kind of thinned them out earlier, but I might have to, there's some bare spots there, so I might have to move a few of them over. This is actually another new bed that we did. So we added a bed here in between these, and then that bed over there between those. And this is kind of herbs and marigolds. The marigolds don't look so good, but I have chives. I have 4 very large chive plants on each corner. And then I have some catnip. The chickens actually really love catnip. Some parsley. There's 2 parsley plants. That is lemon balm. Some pineapple sage. Some, I think this is marjoram. Yeah, sweet marjoram. And it smells really good. And this here is, what is this? Oh yeah, chamomile. Doesn't look very good though, so I don't know. And then there's a bunch of just marigolds in there. Some of them look okay and some of them don't. So really just the marigolds are for my chickens. I have some extras here which I didn't get planted. There's some thyme here, a couple different kinds. There's some dill that came up, and that is oregano there on the end. And then in here we have beans, a bunch of beans. I had to replant some because they didn't come up. And then we have these tomatoes, which were kind of last minute. We got them from our neighbor. They are actually San Marzano tomatoes. They had gotten them from Italy, and my neighbors don't really have a garden, so they gave them to us. So we have a bunch of those. There are 6 of those. And then all of our pepper plants, which are flowering, and they look beautiful. We have a couple hot peppers, and the rest are mainly bell peppers or a sweet small pepper. And that is all of that. Over here in the corner, I have a thing my husband made, and it's just a circular fenced in area. The chickens get in there now and kick around the dirt, but I need to callus my potatoes and get those in really soon so that they can grow up, but they'll grow long into the fall, so that'll be fine. I'm not worried about the timing on that. Yeah, so that is everything that we have in the garden out here, and I'm going to take you guys up front and show you what we've done up there. Okay, sorry about the wind. Of course, it just started to blow as I started to record. So I'm going to show you what we've done up towards the front of the house. Some of the things we planted last year and some things we've done this year. We just have an ornamental grass over here, really for water. We get a lot of water down here at the end of the driveway, and I thought that would kind of also eventually, we kind of walk down this way to go to the chickens and to the garden, so I thought, you know, that kind of starts a path right there. So that we planted last year. We also have a couple more ornamental grasses up here that we planted last year. They look great. I'm hoping those will just fill in and kind of give a little privacy there. In these barrels, I just have some hostas that my neighbor gave me, and that is some black-eyed Susans from my mother-in-law. Another hosta in the barrel, and then we have a spirea that I planted last year. I planted that. That there, I forget the name of it. I want to say lupine, but I forget the name of that. And my mother-in-law gave that to me as well. She just has so many plants and offers them up. There's also another little plant there that we planted last year that hasn't done so well. We have a couple of those. Another ornamental grass. Some more here. I forget what that's called. Something blue, but I think that's just the name of it. It's not a butterfly bush, but I forget the name. I have a couple of them. We did an ornamental grass here. This is just in front of our fireplace that sticks out a little bit, so, and it doesn't get really high. We have this little output here and we didn't want it to grow into it, so I'll just cut it back if it does start to, but that's there. An oak leaf hydrangea, which I love, and I'm hoping it just kind of takes over this whole corner. It's beautiful though. Another ornamental grass here. An annual that I planted. And then I have some bulbs that I just put in here, and they're just growing up. This is an ornamental cranberry bush that we planted last year. I have my bird bath. Another one of those plants there that I mentioned that I have over there. I think these were tulips or hyacinths. This doesn't look so good. It's a climbing hydrangea. For some reason this one just doesn't, I don't know if it's because the birds are over here or what. There's one on the other side that doesn't look that bad. my bird feeder, and then these are just like different kinds of boxwoods that were here when we moved in, but they kind of fit right in front of that window there. So that's where we've kept them until we can figure something else out, or we might just keep them there. An ornamental grass that we got this year, they only get to be like 18 inches tall, so I thought it was a nice filler. Same one there on this side. Another one of those plants with the purple flowers. Another spirea. Some more annuals. Another ornamental grass. This here is a Deutzia, dwarf Deutzia gracilis. It's just a shrub. Has white flowers. It blooms in the spring, and it already did, and then it's died off. You can kind of see here the white flowers. They're just small, and they really do fill in the whole bush, though, when it is in bloom. It's really pretty. Just another ornamental grass. Here's that climbing hydrangea on this side, and it seems to be doing a little better than the one on the other side, so I don't know what the deal is with that. A couple more tulip bulbs. We planted these. They're just like an evergreen type plant, but they're a yellowish. We planted one on either side of the walkway. I think they're really pretty color. This is a butterfly bush. It's really nice. This is, I know what this is, and it's just not coming to me. Starts with a D, I think. I forget. But it basically started out half this size, and it has just kind of spread, and we love that when it blooms. It just got done blooming. Should have probably filmed this when everything was in bloom. And then we just have a honeysuckle vine here, which is in bloom and smells lovely. And a sedum. A hydrangea plant that was just a wee little thing when I planted it last year. I think I got it as a gift from someone, and I just went ahead and planted it, and it gets bigger and bigger. An azalea bush that was here when we moved in, and it's very nice. Another ornamental grass. I love ornamental grasses. But there are a bunch of boxwoods and things in here and on the other side of this azalea, which you can tell it's all bare on the one side because it was just kind of eating into it. So we pulled all that stuff out and replanted other things. Another spirea. Another bird bath. Ornamental grass. An annual. Another ornamental grass. This here, I can't remember the name of it. It's not a butterfly bush, but it does attract butterflies. Don't remember the name of that. My mother-in-law has one, and it's huge. I mean, it will grow to give us a little privacy here. This is like our dining room nook area. So should reach the top of the window to kind of give a little privacy, because everyone can see in the front when we're sitting in there eating. An ornamental grass. This is just a really large rock that was, we have a bunch of large boulders up here from when they were excavating the area, and they just kind of put them up there. So this is a dwarf lilac that we planted this year, and my husband got me this bird feeder for Mother's Day last year and put that in this year. And then I'm hoping this lilac will just kind of fill out. It gets to be like 4 feet or something, so that'll cover up that ugly pole, and I'll probably paint the pole. But I love that bird feeder. It actually looks like it's really, really tall, but when you're looking out this dining room window, it is perfectly in line to where you can see the birds, and it's really nice. Another butterfly bush. And another butterfly bush. And this is a purple berry bush. It's just got these itty bitty little berries on them. You can kind of see they're starting to come in there, but they get this beautiful purple color. This must be too far away there. But it's really pretty, so that's just on the end here. And then when our fence kind of wraps around and then goes straight back, and we planted a Weigela bush here. And it was already bloomed. It's got beautiful pink blooms on it, and I think that's going to fill in really nicely there. They get to be like 20 feet tall, so we didn't want it to be in the way of the power lines, so we moved it down a little bit away, but I think it'll fill in really nicely there. And none of these beds were here, so last year we dug everything out and added all of these beds here, and added this circular area, and that was it. All that it had was coming straight down here to the end of the house. There was a little bed there with that like azalea and some more boxwoods, and then we had that bed there in front of the window, and then none of this here in the front. We added all of that, so I think it turned out really nice. And then if we come up here to the front by the road, we added this large bed at the road. I have an ornamental grass. That is a hydrangea. I think it's a limelight hydrangea. It was looking kind of poorly earlier in the year, but it's starting to fill in a little bit now. A butterfly bush, an ornamental grass. This is called a witch's broom, I think, and it blooms this really pretty yellow. I got it this year actually, and it already bloomed. That is just a perennial flower, almost like a black-eyed Susan, but it's not. They just don't look good this year, but they are growing, so I'm hoping they'll just kind of make it. This is an ornamental grass. It's really beautiful. We just kind of planted it in front of the sewer lines here to hide them a little bit when you're driving by. Another one of those flowers. This is a hydrangea. Forget what kind this is. It is a different kind as well. And then an annual up there by the mailbox. There's this red-tipped ornamental grass. You can see the red tips on it. It's really pretty. Here is an ornamental grass. And then here on the end we have a crepe myrtle, and it is going to look so nice once it gets bigger, but it was scary in the beginning. It wasn't looking so good. So you can see down here, this was what it originally looked like, and it was really tall, and I thought it was dead, and so I cut it back and it started to grow from the bottom. So I'm really glad that it made it, and I think it's going to be beautiful once it gets bigger and kind of hangs over the mailbox area. And that's everything we've done there. I will show you over here real quick. We did kind of like a border along our property with lilacs. That's a regular size lilac. A willow, it's called a curly willow. It's really neat actually. I'll show you. I know they kind of take over, but it's got these spiral branches on it. I'm not sure if you can see them very well, but they're actually curly-cued. And the leaves are curled a little bit, and yeah, so another lilac and then another curly willow. So that is what we have going on here. I wanted to share with you guys. I know I've done the garden before, but I hadn't done the front area, and I thought this go round, I showed you the chicken coop I think last time, so this go round I would show you the front of the house. But that is everything, and I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any questions or are curious about anything, and I'll try and get back to you. Thank you.